This is Electoral College Combat. It's a card game that is a little bit of strategy, an awful lot of luck, a little bit of education, and an awful lot of silliness. Let's get into it. So my thoughts about this game, Electoral College Combat, is that there are a couple of things that I liked about it. Number one, if you play this game consistently, you're going to know that a presidential candidate would need 270 Electoral College votes. You'll also start quickly recognizing which states have a lot and which states really don't. You'll start to recognize that as you play through there, and you'll be like, I need California, I need Texas, and recognize a little bit about why maybe some of the politics in our country work the way that they do, and that you can stack up all the threes you want, and it's not going to make much of a difference when compared with, you know, like a California. So there's definitely some things that I think will help educate people, and you'll start noticing some things without overtly having to memorize all of those numbers, which is really good. My main concern about the game came to the wild cards. We have wild cards called fake news and Russian collusion, and you know that that's going to be politically charged. Just the names of them. The way they work aren't necessarily like overtly political one way or another, but having one called Russian collusion and one called fake news definitely brings out the somewhat contentious political atmosphere that we live in. So just be aware of that. But again, what actually happens with those cards isn't necessarily like overtly political, leaning one way or another. It's just part of the game that makes it a little bit fun and kind of silly and wacky, and not so much like just playing war with a deck of cards. So anyway, I liked the game. I had fun. I played it a couple times with my kids. It's quick. A quick game if you've got like 15 minutes or something and you want to play. It does have the addition at the end where you have to add up the Electoral College votes, which also was nice to have a little bit of a brain exercise at the end of it. So there you go. If you're looking for a fun, quick game that gives you a little bit of education mixed in with quite a bit of luck, then this might be the game for you. I will have links in the video description for you to check it out. After you've dealt the entire deck of cards into two even piles, we're going to have player 1 over here, player 2 over here. The first player begins by setting out 5 cards right here, face down, unseen, and the opponent, that's this player from over here, will flip over 1 card. Flips over, in this case, Indiana, and that's worth 11 Electoral College votes. The player, oh man, the player then flipped over Tennessee. Now, as you can see here, if I zoom in just a little bit, both Tennessee and Indiana have 11 Electoral College votes, which means your opponent over here gets to flip over another card, seeing if, ooh, Vermont, and that is 3 Electoral Colleges. So this one here was a little bit of a weird hand because we did start out with a tie. And I'll show you the traditional hand and how it usually works. But because it was a tie, and the opponent, and then this player, the opponent flipped over 3. Because 3 from Vermont here, you can see, is less than these two, the opponent, this person, gets this card, 3, and the 2 face down cards, and the player who put the cards down on this side gets to keep these 2. So again, the whole point is, well, what did we get? We got a 16 and a 3, so that worked out to be pretty even. This guy worked out, oh, actually, these guys have 1 extra. We have a total of 22 over here. Is that right? Yeah, 22, and this one has 22. Ooh, we're actually really close. We're tied right now. So we're going to set those ones back. Those are the total number of points for each player. And we just keep going. Now, let's look at, hopefully, a little bit of a more traditional hand here. Hopefully we won't tie this time. The cards are coming from this side, so this player would flip over one card. Ooh, 5. Oh boy, there's lots of 5s. And then this side here is going to flip over one. Okay, we flipped over a 4. Hawaii, nice. The player who flipped over the higher card, this player, gets to choose, I can take my higher card and one more of the unseen cards, or the lower card and 2 more of the unseen cards. And this is where the strategy kicks in, because we know there's a lot of cards out there. There's a California, there's a Texas, there's a New York. There's some really big ticket items here. So what I would do in this case, if it's a 4 and a 5, I'd take the lower one and 2. Now, it is this person's choice over here, because they're the one who flipped over 5. So they're going to pick 4 and these 2, just as an example. And that gives these 2 to this person. Oh, Pennsylvania. Swing state indeed. We've got lots of points over there. What do we end up with here? We got an 8 and a 15. Okay, not bad. Not bad. We still made out a little bit better than just getting the 20. And now it's this guy's turn again. So the play will continue in that way. The wild cards will change things up when they come out, but basically this is the way you're going. This guy will flip over one card. Ooh, 14. This guy here flips over 1. The person with the higher card gets to pick. When there's that much of a spread between it, sometimes I'll just take the higher card. And did it work out? No, it doesn't look like it did. Oh, that's actually pretty decent again. We'll take this one here and this one here. And then the play just continues. We're going to go until we hit a wild card. Wild card, fake news. With fake news, what you're going to do is predict what's going to happen next. So, is my next card going to be less than or greater than 6? Personally, with a strategy like this, if I get it correct, I get to keep it. If I get it wrong, my opponent gets it. So if I have a low number like 6, I'm just going to say it's greater than 6. Because if it is greater than 6, I definitely want to keep it. That's less than 6. So my opponent gets it, but it's only worth 4. This one here is greater than 6. It is greater than 6, so I get to keep it. And this last one, greater than 6. And it's less than 6, so my opponent gets it again. So it ended up kind of evening out. But I will also get to keep this card here. So that's how fake news works. Wild card. This one's called Swing State. With Swing State, what you're going to do is you choose to flip over one card, your opponent chooses to flip over one card, and then what you do is you look at all the total cards that are flipped over, and you add up their values. 6 plus 9 is 15, plus 3 gives me 18. If the total is even, then you keep all of it. If the total is odd, then the opponent gets to keep all of the cards. So, in this case, it's even. So you, the person whose hand this is, gets to keep all of those cards. So here we go. They're all mine, and this one, woohoo, Virginia. Wild card. Russian collusion. With Russian collusion, you do rock, paper, scissors for each card, and whoever wins gets to keep that card. So rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, this player wins this one. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. This player wins. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. This player wins again. And rock, paper, scissors, shoot. This player wins again. Much better at rock, paper, scissors over here. Now we come to the point where there's only 3 cards left. At this point, we need to pause for just a second. Say we're this player. This player will need to go through your entire hand and pick out the highest point, is it Texas for this one? I think it is. The highest point state and any other card you want. Now, if there was a celebrity or endorsement or Russian collusion or any of those wild cards that were not played, that you've just collected, you could throw those in there too. But anyway, we're just going to pick the lowest card so we don't risk losing a lot. But that gets shuffled in, and you don't know where is my highest card. So it's a bit of a risk here. All right. And that's the basic gameplay. At this point, you would count up the, add up all the electoral votes and see who won. And that is how you play Electoral College Combat.